mattress magnate Zachariah Blumenthal, who lives on the Upper East Side with his fat wife, their twins, and a pet iguana that has his own room. Zukowski didn't care one bit because his dad's just a plumber. He said that the only reason they gave him a bunch of dough to come to Claremont is because he's some sort of whiz kid. So I asked him, "What's 121 divided by 11 times 5 add 2 and take away 10? He promptly responded with 47. Thinking that even a busted clock is right twice a day, I fired off another one. "Okay, hotshot, so what's 14 times 14 divided by 2 plus 20 take away 3? He paused for a second and then said, 115. Sweet mother of God! I bet you're smart enough to bring up the whole school's average. He curtsied like a real faggot and asked what my excuse was. I'm Nietzsche, I told him. Of course, he didn't know what the hell that was. When I explained that I had been awarded the honors of a student of outstanding scholarly accomplishment by the New York City Housing Authority, he looked at me like I was joking. The funny part was that I'd left out the corny bit about me having won it in a writing competition among my semi-literate neighbors in the Jacob Riis houses. On East 59th Street, you have to go underground to board the train. When we got to the top of the stairwell, I told him flat out, "You're a jackass, Zukowski. A real fairy. I've seen kids like you my whole life, strutting around with your glasses on and your head up your ass. And now that I've got you close up, I ought to punch you. But I won't, because I like you. Don't ask me why, but I do." We had what Mom calls rapport. Even if he was a blowhard, he wasn't a douche. Besides, Mama told me that not being too picky was the key to making friends. So we shook hands, and I just stood there watching him prance down the smut-covered stairwell, thinking that all I had to do was sit behind him in Coach Picaro's pre-algebra class, and I'd do just fine. Me and Mom eat at the Hojo's up on East 72nd on the days she works late. Seeing as how I only had one token left, I hightailed it uptown on foot and jumped into a booth beside her and squeezed her like she was the very last of the toothpaste. As we were catching up, I told Mom that there was another kid there who was just like me, or at least kind of like me, or at least he was more like me than I thought anybody would be. And for the most part, Zukowski was. For 5 whole years. Then came the day in the 9th grade when we went more than a few blocks out of our way to check out the St. Michael's Academy girls field hockey team practice after school. And let me tell you, if Claremont's more of a mansion than an actual school building, St. Michael's is a full-on manor estate with castle and moat. We passed the Guggenheim and saw the girls up ahead, lined up at midfield doing warm-up exercises. We took up our usual position at the wrought iron bar some 20 yards behind them, which I thought was discreet, but apparently it wasn't, because no sooner had they started their windmill routine than one of the girls in the back row caught sight of me from between her legs. She shot straight up and shouted for us to stop gawking. When we didn't just run off like a couple of pansies, she picked up her field hockey stick and started straight for us like she meant business. Zukowski yelped like a poodle and booked it. The girl stepped up to the fence and just sort of stood there, looking at me like I was something her biology teacher had just brought into class on a petri dish. I stood there, fully aware of the entire squad behind her, coach included. They were ready to charge me at the drop of that stick, while I stood there with mouth agape, staring at her like an imbecile. She was friggin' hot. She rolled her eyes. "You go to Claremont?" "Yeah." "Well, stop ogling us. We don't like it." "Okay." Before I knew it, a screeching whistle sent her galloping back to the field. Zukowski, still in awe that I had talked to a girl, reappeared from behind the sculpted bushes in front of the Russian consulate. We hopped on the downtown 6 train, hooting and hollering like a couple of lunatics who just won the lottery. You see, even if it wasn't exactly a friendly interaction, it was the first time we'd made contact with a St. Michael's girl. Zukowski didn't care one bit who it was she brought when the time came for our inevitable double date. He thought that the best thing